right, folks. Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm with 𝗂𝗃. Man, it's been a little bit, AJ. Finally, you're back on the program. It's great having you. AJ, you're an author of many books, aren't you? But the latest one is the White Privilege album. So you're two books.
Yeah, this is the sequel to The Woking Dead.
What, the Woking Dead and the White Privilege album. I love your style, bro.
That's how I roll, brother. That's how I roll. It's great to be here. Up in the box with Nino. Better look out. You can throw some jabs.
In the corner, baby. In the
Right.
corner. No, we're gonna throw some haymakers. AJ lives in Washington, D.C., and half the cabinet is on his client list, right?
Yeah, I mean, if things keep going this way, Trump's going to have stolen all my clients by January 1st. I'm gonna be on the streets selling these books behind me. I mean, really.
On the corner.
Yeah, I mean, a nice chunk of.
At least to be selling books on the corner and not something
That's true.
else.
Well, I thought it was going to be, yeah, exactly, right? Well, no, Kamala will be doing that. No, I'm joking. It's funny. I like to think of myself as the center of the MAGA cinematic universe, right? I'm like Kevin Bacon. I'm the MAGA Kevin Bacon. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And, Bacon was from Philly, just like me. So I'll take it. But when it comes to this cabinet, it's amazing. Every day I see one of my clients being hired. It's just like ridiculous.
Isn't that a good thing?
It is. It is. I mean, look, we have been in the fight here with 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶, and my time fighting in the trenches of conservatism and populism even predates that. Since the OG came down the golden escalator. So when the OG, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea. So when the OG comes down the golden escalator with Melania, things changed. And your audience might not, I'm sure they could surmise, but their guests get on shows like this in a roundabout way. Sometimes hosts, they book their own show, or if you have a producer, a lot of shows, hosts book their own show, and sometimes you have a guest booker. Other times, you get on an email list from a PR firm like 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶, which is my company, and you receive guest pitches and missives and stuff about, hey, put this guy on, he taught a living or whatever the hell it is. And, for the last decade, when Trump showed up, and I'm talking about this now because, we're 3 elections into this, and I've pretty much put a toe tag on everyone else. But when Trump showed up here in D.C., there were a lot of PR firms that threw in immediately, and I mean immediately, with the Never Trumpers. Or they threw in with some of these grifters that slowly started leaking out of the Trump White House that were, disgruntled, right? John Bolton with the mustache,
right?
The anonymous book, Jim Comey, Den of Vipers, the guy that wrote the Den of 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗔. There's a whole group of these people, right? That, for whatever reason, they got tossed out of the Trump White House, or they were spies. Like Mark Meadows' secretary, these people that were cooperating with committees, right? So this left an opening for me and for Publius to come in there.
For all of us now, right?
Sure. I mean, that's on the media side. And you talk about that all the time. But what the audience, a lot of audience don't realize is that we are the nuclei of the cell where content passes through PR firms like ours. And when you're successful at it, you win elections, you change the narrative, you lift up shows like this with great content, right? People make money, but certain types of, whether it's on immigration, whatever your topic is, all the things you're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, I'm already writing those down.
Right. And the reality is that, if you talk about certain topics you're not supposed to talk about, sometimes people get blocked from getting book deals. They get deplatformed, demonetized, they get shadow banned. So we act as a facilitator between authors and groups and
It
activists.
creates a vacuum that you fill in.
We filled it. We filled it. And there couldn't be a better example than the fact that here we are, Trump's third election, and Kevin Bacon here. I'm watching announcements get made for his cabinet secretaries and also appointments that don't have to be confirmed by the Senate. Because some of these people being named, they don't have to go through a Senate confirmation hearing, right? So, and it's an amazing thing. And I know, look,
like 𝗀𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗃 and like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, FBI director. I mean, I'm
gonna go.
Wow,
I'm gonna go. Yeah, exactly. I'll go through them all here in a second. But sometimes when you're in this fight and you lose a battle, but maybe not the war, you start to question yourself, right? Like, okay, well, one step forward, two steps back, right? They're trying to TKO me, right? That's what they're trying to do, homie. You know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
And, but we delivered a knockout punch this election. They all this talk about the Great Reset. Oh, they're coming for us. Well, the Great Reset just happened. We reset them.
The it's the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Right. Fine. Call it that.
Yeah,
but they were in our food. They were in our bodies. They were in our politics. They were in our bathrooms. They were following our children home. And now we have stopped some of that. And they wanted a Great Reset. Well, you got one. Republicans now control the Senate, the House. We have a majority in the Supreme Court. Donald Trump, most votes ever, popular vote, electoral college vote. I'm dunking on fools with 312 electoral college votes. So let me go through this for you. Pete Hegseth, who I've known for 20 years, and he and I have had some fun over the years. And during this time period, he had 7 children and I had 1. Look, he's my boy. He's my friend. He gave me a blurb for my first book, The Woking Dead.
Now I have that book. I do have that book.
Right. He gave me a blurb for that. We're going to do everything in our power to defend him. He's been nominated for Secretary of Defense. And I will tell you a story you're going to love. And I just started telling it because I think people need to, if there are people out there that can sway public opinion, they need to hear these stories. So Pete launches a book. I guess it was in the summer. So this is, what is this? 2020 May, Memorial Day, right? Of the election year.
Yeah, when 2019?
May of 2020.
Was it May of 2020? Okay.
Yeah, it was the election year. So, all hell breaks loose. And you've got these. So Pete's book comes out on a Tuesday and he's doing interviews, right? And look, Fox has got a tight leash, so you got to run the interviews by Fox, mostly radio and podcasts. He obviously can't go on Newsmax and some of these other things. So he gets to about Thursday, and I don't know whether you remember, but there's a barricade outside the White House, rioting. They're lighting churches on fire, right? This is when.
But that's okay. That's all okay.
That's a very peaceful protest. These aren't
peaceful.
the very peaceful protests. These aren't the very fine people, obviously, from Charlottesville. These are even better people than the very fine people, right? And Trump walks across Lafayette Park, which is in front of the White House. Not far, about 5 miles from where I'm sitting, and they clear it, and he goes out there with General Milley, General White Rage, and he goes out there with Bill Barr and Kushner and the rest of them. And remember, Trump holds the Bible up.
I remember that, man.
But before that happened,
was powerful.
Before that happened, the National Guard got called in to defend the White House, the DC Guard. So Hegseth's doing interviews. All of a sudden, he's gone. He vanishes. Shows can't find him. His publicist, me, can't find him. The publisher, 𝗪𝗏, can't find him. Next thing you know, I get a message. People start getting, very few of us got messages. Yo, my guard unit got called up.
Yeah.
I'm out. And he's out front of the White House defending the White House in uniform. Okay? From the hordes of scum that are out there. They would have probably climbed over the fence of the White House. Secret Service would have had to open fire. So they put this larger perimeter out there, and the DC Guard is defending it. Hegseth's out there. Hegseth is a major in the Army. And this is the type of guy he is. I don't know whether Fox knew, but didn't tell anybody. Doesn't care about making money on the book, doesn't care about doing the interviews, doesn't care about anything except that God called him up. He cares about the flag, he cares about the Constitution, he
True
cares about
patriot.
defending. He defends the goddamn White House. I said, AJ, I'm defending the White House. I can't do any freaking interviews. I'm like, whoa, okay, brother. I think that's the best excuse I've ever had in my life.
100%. Wow.
So that's
wow.
So they want to play. So the media wants to like go after him and play these little freaking cute games
because he's a threat. Because he's a
threat. This is a patriot.
They're going after Matt Gaetz as well right now. They're going after everybody.
Did you see Hakeem Jeffries defending the White House? Did you see 𝗬𝗎ci 𝗰𝗶𝗹 defending the White House? No, you didn't. Chuck Schumer, who's putting cheese on raw ground beef? No, you did not. You saw Pete Hegseth defending the White House. And that's who he is. And that's why we love him. And everybody, they should vote for him. And he's got to go through a confirmation process. But people need to hear those stories. And there's many. That's just one of my favorites.
So let's talk about this for a second. Let's just switch gears for a second. Now that, you're in the media world, you're a publicist. And now that I feel like now we have just witnessed a massive shift in consciousness. This win just changed the tone for everything. Yeah. So what are you noticing right now? What kind of censorship's being lifted, or are people getting more bold with their statements? Are people just now having a lot more confidence? What are you noticing in the media world right now?
Well, I don't see I see a little bit of resistance, and I see a little bit of these dummy governors saying that they're going to sue the federal government, for certain reasons if the Trump administration does anything. But I mean, they'll be back. I mean, remember last time around when Trump won, Madonna was outside the White House with the Me Too movement, with the pink footsie cat hats.
That's right.
Right. So you had Occupy Wall Street and the Me Too movement. They converged rather quickly. Lost. This time around, they seem to have accepted it a little bit better. Probably because they realized what a lightweight Kamala was. But they didn't just lose the presidency. They lost the Senate. They lost the House. Trump won the popular vote. And a large chunk of independent RFK Jr. type Democrats said bye-bye. And in the ensuing last 4 years since the Biden-Trump election, there's been some woke Waterloo moments. And I talk about some of them in the White Privilege album. Elon Musk buying Twitter instituted the biggest digital jailbreak in history.
Wow.
Okay? It was like freeing the slaves. It was like the digital emancipation proclamation. Because content
that is the best way I've ever heard that.
Content was able to flow. I think, and look, these tech bros, I love them, most of them. But the tech bros, these are guys that didn't get laid till they were 30. They're very smart guys. They're very smart guys, but they're also very...
They end up marrying a stripper.
Yeah, right. I swear she loved me. She told me she loved me, Mom.
I know those guys all too well.
I invented an app in my basement, and now I've got strippers.
Told me she was good. I could trust her.
But it looked like Zuckerberg, who is in competition with Musk for being the coolest tech bro. It looked like before this election, he put the white flag up because he basically said, I'm not going to get involved in this shit. We're not doing the Zucker boxes. I'm not endorsing anyone. And he could see how much great press, avant-garde counterculture press that Musk was getting. And he's jealous. He is. Look, you and I know, dudes.
Look at Mark Cuban jealous of Trump.
Because Musk made wokeism uncool. And through his platform and Joe Rogan helping and Dana White helping and these different people helping, Theo Vaughn and Schultz and Gutfeld, my books, things like that. Kid Rock shooting up the Bud Light cases with the AR-15. Ricky Gervais going to the Golden Globes, and dunking on the Epstein dunk, Weinstein dunk, Epstein dunk, Weinstein dunk. P. Diddy white parties. Half of these people performing for Kamala were hanging out at
the
P.
white
Diddy's
parties.
house. So a lot of these, and then the conspiracy theories about vaccinations have slowly been becoming true. So RFK Jr. doesn't look like a crazy person. And look, RFK Jr., and I'm going to get to him in a minute because he's our client, you know, this is the oldest male Kennedy heir. He's the oldest of that second group, the Jack and Bobby and Teddy and Joe Jr. group. Because John Jr. died in a plane crash. He's the oldest one. So he's the heir to the throne, the oldest man. Like if this was Game of Thrones, if this was the freaking feudal system, he would be the king. If this was Camelot, he would be the king. And, you know, I'm not sure his Hollywood wife is too happy, but look, he understood.
Didn't they split up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe we haven't heard about it yet. Maybe the papers are.
Yeah. Well, now that he's got a position in the cabinet, she's like, hey.
The papers are on the way.
Yeah.
But look, you know, she could go back to Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh wait, that ended. But she's gonna have to curb. She's gonna have to curb her enthusiasm for Bobby. Anyway, look, I will tell you, these things happened. I mean, if Trump was a general manager of a baseball team, if he was George Steinbrenner or something, and he said, look, Republicans, Democrats, I'm going to make a deal with you. I'll trade you. It's like trading for A-Rod or Derek Jeter. I'll trade you Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, crying Adam. Right? I'll trade you those two. You send back to me RFK Jr. and 𝗀𝗏. You want to talk about ripping off the Oakland A's?
It's like the Avengers, dude. It's like, I swear, it's a Marvel comic.
It's the MAGA Avengers, which is why I say that 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶 is the center of the MAGA cinematic universe. Because of this, Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, we worked on his books. 𝗀𝗏 Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. I did her book. Michael Waltz, National Security Advisor.
So you've been working with all these people in the trenches, and now we're on top of the mountaintop, and you must feel amazing.
Oh yeah, dude! I'm gonna be able to walk in and out of the White House like Kramer.
Wow. So let me ask you this though.
You want me to finish my list? I'll go back
finish your list.
All right. So Michael Waltz, we did a kids book with him. He's a Green Beret. He's got a soft side to him. He's got 3 kids. He has a baby. Did a kids book called Dawn of the Brave. But make no mistake, if you're Hezbollah, Hamas, Putin, Xi, whoever it is, this is not somebody you want to mess with. This is a Green Beret. He is a stone cold badass, just like Pete. I think he outranks Pete because he's a full colonel. 𝗀𝗏 Gabbard is a lieutenant colonel. Pete's a major. I got all 3 of them. I helped on Matt Gaetz's book for about a month. We'll see what happens there, Attorney General. Of all the campaigns that were running last year, only one of them actually paid us, and that was Vivek's campaign.
Really?
So we were hired by Vivek to put surrogates for Vivek, James Fishback, Kathy Barnett. We were the ones running Vivek's surrogates into the media. So these were pro-Vivek people. We were pumping them into the media. So Vivek and Elon are going to run this DOG. They're going to be the DOG boys, Department of Government Efficiency. And then I am told that there's a chance that Hung Tao, whose book I did, he's a captain in the Navy. He ran for U.S. Senate in Virginia. We did his book. That he may end up being Pete's right-hand man at the Secretary of Defense. So we could have the Assistant Secretary of Defense. And then Sergio Gore has been named Director of the White House Office of Personnel. Now, that is quite possibly one of the most powerful positions up there, because Sergio, who's a longtime Rand Paul guy and assistant to Donald Trump Jr., him and Donald Trump Jr. and Donald Trump Sr., who are all my clients because I'm the publicist of something called Winning Team Publishing. Now, who are they? It's owned by Sergio Gore, who's now going into the White House, Don Jr. and Don Sr. I'm sure you've seen these coffee table books that Trump has been putting out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have seen them.
Right. So that's that publishing house. They also just put out the most recent Peter Navarro book, Kari Lake's book, MTG's book, 𝗪𝗓𝗍𝗂𝗧𝗏𝗧's book. So I've done the publicity for all of those books.
Wow.
So that's my boy. And look, Sergio and I have known each other since we were puppies, since, when George W. Bush, he used to work for Michelle Bachmann a long time ago. So that's my boy. So look, that's all right now. Some of what I'm hearing from press secretary are some of my girls. I'm hearing all kinds of names. Monica Crowley's name, I'm hearing. You're looking at the former executive producer of the Monica Crowley show. I'm hearing Kari Lake's name. Can you imagine that? The press corps' head will explode.
Wow.
If Kari Lake was the press secretary. And then I'm hearing, Tucker's name, and I'm hearing Caroline Levitt. It sounds like Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, is out. She took herself out of the mix there. But, we'll see. We'll see who the press secretary is. This guy on CNN who I don't know, poor guy, I forget his name, who's been dunking on people on CNN.
I've seen some of his videos. I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name either.
Doug Stevens or something.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
trying to remember his name. I don't know him, but
he's been owning them, dude, on their own network.
He's been owning them. We may soon know them. So yeah, look, it is quite the accomplishment. And I feel great that we contributed something. Because this is you run a PR firm, you get invited to all these stupid parties and stuff. I don't really go to them. I'm a Philly blue collar guy, right? I'm up watching the Eagles beat the Redskins last night. Oh wait, can I call them the Redskins? Can I call them the Redskins? So
yeah. and Dallas.
Yeah. We destroyed them. We destroyed them.
Everyone's destroying Dallas right now.
But for me, it's wow. I feel like God and the universe put me in a position to pump these people into the public, consciousness. And look, Trump's a media guy. We work for him. I've got checks that said, I did the publicity for both of Don Jr.'s books. So, I've got my Trump organization checks in a frame. They're framed. Okay,
wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right. So look, the secret's out. I am the puppet master of all of. No, I'm joking. But look,
we needed a puppet master, baby. That's what I'm going to call you now.
I am,
well, dude. You're there now. You've taken the reins now.
I am just a humble servant of the Constitution. So, it's amazing.
Can we switch gears for a second? Are we able to now? All right. So you're in Washington, D.C. What kind of whispers are you hearing right now? What could happen in the next 2 months? Are they going to try another? What's that?
Well, look, the regular. Well, first of all, every house is for sale. Every house in Fairfax County and Loudoun County. Because it's not just, we worked for the Biden administration and now we lost and we're going to move on. It's the permanent state. Pack your bags, mofos. Right?
You're out.
Right. So obviously all my neighbors hate me.
I can't, dude. My neighbors do too. I have this person still has a Kamala wall sign in his yard.
Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax County, Prince William County, PG County. So, you got the permanent state, the permanent bureaucracy, because as Kash Patel has said, the fish doesn't just rot from the head. You have to drop a Moab. You got to Moab these departments. You can't just pluck the head off and put Hegseth in and put Gates in.
Right.
You gotta go 10 floors below the surface.
Right. You got to clean up the basement.
You got to go all the way down to the janitors that are like GS1, GS2 government employees.
Yeah.
You got to go all the way down.
Massive cleanup is ready. It's happening.
This is why, there were so many problems in the first administration, is because Trump was the only person in history to get elected president that, one, had never been an elected official, but two, also he was never a general either, right? So like if you look at all 47 presidents, all of them except him twice now had been elected something, a governor, a senator, or congressman. Congress to the White House has only happened once. U.S. senator. I mean, even the ones that are still alive. George W. Bush was the governor of Texas and was the governor of Arkansas, and Biden were senators, and Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia. So, having a guy that wasn't a general, just a businessman. If you look at the generals, starting with Washington, so the last general that was elected was Eisenhower. But, in between, you've got Ulysses S. Grant, you got Zachary Taylor, you got Andrew Jackson, a bunch of others. William Henry Harrison. I mean, it was a bunch that were elected that were generals. And so Trump is a phenomenon in that aspect of American history. So when he comes to Washington, he rolls in here, he's got his children, and he's got, Reince Priebus telling him, Tillerson, Mad Dog Mattis, all these people, right? So they end up with these cabinet positions, which meant the status quo was preserved. So
and now it's complete cleanup.
No way. And he's term limited out, so he's gonna Thelma and Louise this bitch right off the freaking the freaking ravine. Instead of him. So that is problematic in terms of safety of the president and safety of the president-elect. And this is why you had 4 phony indictments, 2 phony impeachments, and 2 assassins on the field.
But they're not done, right? I mean, do you think they're done playing their moves, or do you think they're going to try to disqualify? I mean, they're going to at least try, right?
I think.
Are you hearing that at all?
I think they may try to they're going to try to cut a deal with him to work together.
It seems to me like Biden has cut a deal, if you want my honest opinion.
Biden's pissed off because
something I think or something, but
it looks to me like
Trump and Biden are way too friendly right now. And I know there has to be a peaceful transition of power, but something's up, man. I can smell it.
Well, look, Trump beat 2 women, and they always call America a female, she this and she that, and Lady Liberty. Turns out she's with it. That's what we learned. That America is a straight woman that wants a husband. That's what we learned here.
That's what we learned.
So I mean, the reality, though, I mean, Biden is an old hand Washington guy. Uncle Cracker. He's an Irish Catholic guy. He's old school. He's been there since Nixon was president. Look, he was never a man of the left. So all this crap they were making him do with the DEI and the guy with the guy with the boobs at the White House Easter egg roll and this is not where he came from. He was hanging out with the segregationists, right?
Right.
So he was hanging out with Rerd when he got to
right.
He was hanging out with Strom Thurmond. So he was never a man of the left. He's a blue collar Irish Catholic guy. So all this equity BS and stuff. I mean, all his goofy, and he was a meat puppet. So it's like, we installed you. We made everyone get out of the race after South Carolina. James Clyburn picked him in 2020. They made Mayor Pete get out of the race, and the fake Indian and Crazy Eyes Corey, and they all got it. Pocahontas, they all got out. And, other than Bernie, stayed around a little bit this time. And they made him the nominee, and they parked him in the basement, and then they ran the score up, and I'll leave the audience to judge on what I mean there. So 15 million votes vanished. But that was his deal. And look, I can tell you this, other than Trump, Biden is the president, or the man that got elected president, that I've met the most. Not as president, but when he was a U.S. senator. I mean, Biden used to he was one of the few Democrats that would go on Fox, and he would be going up and down Amtrak between Philly, because I'm from Philly, so
So you see him all the time.
I'd see him on the train, or, you know, because I am the former executive producer of the Laura Ingraham show, Laura and I would be, you know, and I was on with Laura on her TV show on Monday night. And if anyone see me and Laura interact, it's a different Ingram you get, because
Right.
you know,
You guys are friends behind the scenes.
We bust balls, right?
Right.
Like, I don't call her Laura, I call her Ingram. And I will tell you, you know, Laura would be getting ready to go on O'Reilly or something, and she'd be in hair and makeup, and Biden be sitting there alone, and he'd be like, see if I can do this. Be like, Ingram, God love you. God love you, Ingram. You know, if I was a right-wing nut, you'd be my favorite, Ingram. You'd be my favorite.
Wow.
He was Uncle Cracker. He was gregarious. He was on the ball, busting balls.
This is like finding out what's behind the scenes in the WWE.
And that guy that I saw dozens of times is gone. He's still there a little bit, and I could see it the other day when Trump showed up. But, you know, he's just not. Look, he lost MPH on his fastball. It was obvious. These wackos in the media, they all knew it. They're all shocked to discover.
Right.
You know, I mean, come on. He was like a scarecrow. You know, so. Yeah, but I've met and talked to a bunch of ex-presidents, and Biden, you know, he's shot. You know, the guy, you know, and
it's not the same guy. It's not the same guy.
And look, he should be pissed, because he might. I don't know. I'd like to think that the same thing would have happened, but you know, who knows? But I will tell you, when it comes to the deep state and Trump, what happened last time was that Clapper and what's his name? Brennan, they went up when Trump was president-elect last time. All people go up to the tower in Manhattan, the tower they had bugged, by the way. They go up to the tower, and they go up with the piss dossier, the urine dossier, and they go up with a crossfire hurricane, right? They go up with the threat matrix, and they stick it in front of Trump, and they're like, here's what we've got on you. So look, this is what happens. People, look, I have represented the people around Reagan, some of the Bush people that go back to the Nixon administration. I mean, Monica Crowley worked for Nixon. Ken Kachighian worked for Nixon. I've talked to Bob Novak before he died about this. I've talked to Pat Buchanan many times about Ford and Nixon and Reagan. He worked for all three of them. And I will tell you, when you get elected, if you don't have a security clearance already because you're not the vice president or not the former CIA director like Bush Sr. or a senator or congressman, then you get this sort of talking to. And you either comply or you don't.
They read you the riot act.
So it's obvious that they rolled up there and Trump did this. You know, they walked through the lobby. They said hi to Kanye and Bannon. They go up to the tower. They go, we got all this dirt on you. Some of it might be fake. Some of it was the Steele dossier, which was fake. Which was fake. And Trump said, go blank yourself, which is why for 4 years you had what you had.
So they were trying to get him to play ball.
So here's I always analogy. Like, let's stick with recent history. Whether you love him or hate him, was not supposed to win in the 2008 primary. They were ready to pass the presidency back and forth in the Bushes for 32 years if they had to. And so you got 8 years of Bill, 8 years of W, you're going to get, and then 8 years of Jeb. That's what
Trump
you were going to get.
Upset all of that.
And if you add Bush Sr.'s 4 years, that's 36 years of the presidency being passed between two families that have been completely vetted and rubber stamped by the World Economic Forum and the deep state and the this and the that and pharmaceutical companies and So comes along who was a radical church, street community organizer. He's got the sister. He's got Reverend Wright. He's got Oprah. He's got all these people. So he shows up, junior senator, 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗂𝗁𝗍, hanging out with Farrakhan. He's hanging out with Bernardine Dorn and Bill Ayers, which are Weatherman Underground people. And, you know, he's got Father Flagger and that crazy church. And he's, you know, a free radical during that primary. And they're looking at Ted Kennedy and he's saying, this guy should be getting me coffee. How's he winning primaries? Remember that? You know, he should be shining my shoes.
Right.
This is the same. And, you know, he's not 100% black. He doesn't have slave blood. He's Kenyan, and his mom's from Kansas and Hawaii. The half-white guy from Hawaii. You know, and how he used that was interesting. Axelrod knew what he was doing. You know, people thought they were electing Will Smith before the slap of Chris Rock. And look, you remember they got down to the final three. You got John Edwards, who they had dirt on. They were going to get rid of him any minute because he's knocking up he's sleeping with the videographer. Remember,
right.
Right. And their chosen choice, you know, who's like Carmela Soprano. She's straight up gangster. You know, she's dropping people in the river. And then you got Barack, the skinny guy with the funny name, as he called himself. And I'll never forget when they're talking about what are the debates? Say something nice about your opponents. And all could come up with was, he looks over at her in her pink pantsuit and says, she's likable enough. She's likable. Go watch the video of it. Oh, yeah. But it was authentic.
I remember that now.
It was authentic. And that's the moment. You know, there's 700 counties twice, and Trump has now won 3 times, give or take. That's won all those counties.
Right.
These are counties.
That one remark.
I'm telling you. So at some point when he wins, so he wins the nomination and then he wins the presidency, they come in. The Clapper Brennan type people, it wasn't them then, it was Bush's people. They come in. Remember, we're in the middle of the 08 financial crisis. You got bailouts happening and TARP. Hank Paulson's like bailing out the Wall Street, and, you know, Lehman Brothers is collapsing. All this shit's happening. But they come in with the threat made. At that moment, whatever they put in front of Obama, he flipped. And he was no longer the radical, you know, the guy that's going to mix things up.
Right. He's going to play ball.
He became a company man.
Right.
So with Trump, he never became a company man. He's still not one. So it's one of these things where the deep state's going to have to make a choice. They've thrown everything at him, including assassins. And he's still standing. So it's one of these things. He's term limited. We could probably play ball with JD
They're
Vance.
just going to buy their time?
We could probably play ball with JD Vance in the future. So, you know, let's cut some deals.
That's why they have to be eliminated, like pulling teeth. They have got to get out. We got to get rid of all of them. It's like fumigating a house for termites. Got to get them all out. And that's what he has to do these 4 years. Do you agree with me on that?
You got to do something. And like I said, with Kash Patel, with the 10 layers down, you need a Moab.
Yeah.
Right. But part of the deals are like every single national security person around Trump that has been talked about so far, except Rubio, who I know his staff are Publius clients. So they're not going to play games. You know, they're not. And, you know, 𝗀𝗏𝗓 and Hegseth aren't exactly thrilled about the Ukraine situation.
Right.
So they may try to cut a deal. You know, we won't make life difficult for Pete, but you gotta send the man in the green pajamas, 𝗧𝗏𝗏. That's what I call him. The man in the green pajamas, you got to send him some money and you got to do this. We'll see. We will see. I mean, Trump's a deal maker. You know, he's not an ideologue. So, you know, he's going to say, you know, give me this, I'll give you that.
Let me ask you, since you're in the publicity field and all that, let me ask you, where do you see, I was just trying to pull up an article, but it's just getting slow with an advertisement or whatever, but where do you see late night shows going now? Jimmy Kimmel, all Fallon, all of them. Do you see them having the same impact as they used to, or do you think they're about to die on the vine?
Well, they're already dead on the vine.
Yeah,
I mean, they had,
I
we
agree.
talk about,
But
you got the
they had
the
some
Jimmys.
influence, though. They did have influence.
Well, apparently none this time around. And you got the Jimmys and the Stevens and the rest of these sort of doughy Gen X dorks. They're all telling the same freaking joke, monochromatic wackos that belong in a John Hughes movie. They are getting crushed on a nightly basis by a 4-foot man. A 4-foot man is crushing them. That would be Greg Gutfeld. He is dunking on. He is
Greg Gutfeld 4 feet tall?
Yeah, well, I'm 5'8", and I got about a 1.5 foot on him.
Get out of here.
So look.
Hold on, man. Are you serious?
Yeah. Perino is too. They're little. They're little people.
All right.
Dude, he makes the jokes all the time about how he. I
didn't know he was that. That's pretty tiny. I'm not making fun of him. I just didn't know.
He's probably like 4'6".
Wow. Okay.
Probably. No.
Well, do you know how tall 4'6" is? I can put that on my desk and like.
No, no, I don't know. No, hopefully Greg doesn't see this because I'd like to be on the show.
Oh, dude.
But I bust his balls. No, I've met him before, and it was, Now,
wow.
He's taller than Perino. But they're in the.
Is there some animosity there that I'm feeling with Greg? Or are you good with him? You guys friends?
Oh, no, I'm good with Greg. No, I'm good with Greg. No, I love Greg.
Right.
I know I'm complimenting Greg. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's the nuclear
bomb. They're getting crushed by him.
Yeah,
they're getting crushed by him. He's got better writers. I mean, look, here's the thing, and Bill Maher knows this. And Bill Maher, Bill Maher is going to be fine because I just found out who's actually writing for Bill Maher. The people I used to work with.
Who?
So
who's writing for Bill Maher?
I can't talk about it.
So is Bill Maher going to start going a little right now? He's going to
start. He has been.
I noticed that
on wokeism.
So he's kind of intermixing it, but he's still leaning more to the right now, right? He's not all.
Well, when it comes to humor and freedom of speech and wokeism stuff, the stuff I write about in the White Privilege album, I mean, he knows that when the Woking Dead come and when the digital brown shirts come for us, and when cancel culture, we're all me, Gutfeld, you, Maher, whoever it is, Steven Crowder. We're all going to be put in front of the same firing squad. We're all going to go to the same gulag. They don't want any of us to make jokes about Islam.
Right.
I mean, this is why, look, this is why you had a guy jump on stage and try to stab 𝗵𝗵𝗃. This is why they go after Ricky Gervais.
This is crazy. You're right.
Right. So
they are so unhinged and so triggered.
Oh, they're so unhinged. So Gutfeld is destroying them. He's eating their lunch, right? And Gutfeld eats little food, right? He eats little food. And it, and the
Gutfeld, if you're watching this, I ain't saying it. He is. I am not the one saying it.
He will put me on. No, he'll put me on for this. So here's the deal. All Gutfeld had to do was make fun of everyone, right? And that's what he does. He's got Trump jokes. That's what I do. I make fun of everyone. I'll make fun of Gutfeld. And at the same time, I'm telling you, he's the future of late night. If Rupert
late night now, yeah.
Yeah, if Rupert still owned the network, Fox, the network, because I don't think he does. That was part of the package he sold to Disney, I believe. He owns the sports network, Fox Sports 1. But I mean, I would migrate Greg over to the main network. And maybe they could cut a distribution deal with Disney. I don't know. But I mean, Gutfeld is telling jokes that no one outside of, Rogan and Theo Vaughn and us and you and us.
I think I'm the most vulgar, that's for sure.
Well, look, we're trying to stay on YouTube, so we're keeping it a little buttoned up. But I will tell you, so, I wrote about this today in Real Clear Markets, and I think I texted you the piece, is that these guys are it's lazy comedy. It's lazy comedy. So comedy is supposed to be, well, different definitions of comedy is like tragedy plus time equals comedy. The ability to transform horror into humor equals comedy. But here's the thing. Trump had a lot of rappers a lot of wrestlers, and a lot of UFC guys and boxers that love him. You know
Alphas.
this. These are alpha dogs, guys like Kid Rock, guys in Nashville, guys in Austin. They don't give up, right? They don't give up because they want to. And the reality is, these are alpha type dogs, but you can't cancel them. And, they are willing to call out things for what they are, and they're not afraid. So journalism and comedy and these movie stars and some of the pop stars and, unfortunately, guys like Howard Stern, their job was to check the powerful. Comedy is supposed to be the first version of history, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. Lenny Bruce used to say, and he was talking about different people, but if he was around today, he'd be talking about the left. He would sound like Ricky Gervais. Lenny Bruce, the most famous vulgar comic of all time that supposedly inspired people like Howard Stern and Dice and others, right? Andrew Dice Clay, Dennis Leary, Carlin, Pryor, all of them. The reality is that you can make fun of God, but you better make fun of the right God. Because if you make fun of the wrong God, they will come for you. They will use blue book laws. They will hit you with obscenity laws, which is why Lenny was dragged into court in New York City and Los Angeles County and Chicago, because he was telling, different types of R-rated jokes, sometimes about John F. Kennedy, sometimes about Nixon, sometimes about whoever, the Pope, whoever it was. And we are supposed to be free speech absolutists here. So you got these late night hosts and Howard. Howard was Mr. Punk Rock. He was the Ramones.
Yeah.
He was the Sex Pistols. He was Sid Vicious. Come on. And
all
now
in one.
He's sitting out on Long Island, going to Diddy parties. He's hanging out in the basement playing mahjong with Billy Joel, with 53 booster shots sticking out of him, and he's defending the Pentagon. They're wrapping their arms around the Pentagon. They're wrapping their arms around bombs.
Yeah, it's incredible to witness.
They're wrapping their arms around pharmaceutical companies, bombs. They're wrapping their arms around bombs. That is not what humor was about. Richard Pryor, Rodney Dangerfield, Sam Kinison, all these guys. Joan Rivers, hit him, hit him, hit him. No remorse, hit him, hit everyone. If you tell me I can't tell a joke about fill in the freaking blank, I'm coming for you. Which is why
they fell right into the woke ideology. They just fell into it.
This is why true totalitarianism has arrived when the comedians are afraid.
That's
when the
crazy.
Comedians are afraid.
Yes, they were terrified, but only a few. Only a very few.
And guys like Seth Rogen and these freaking, Patton Oswalt, who's your constituency, you little blob? Get out of here. Get out of here with that.
But I think we've come out on the other side now. I think the whole.
But this is why, homie. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. Right here in this book, here's the table of contents. I call the track listings, like an album, like a CD. For you kids out there that don't know what a CD is, it was this silver disc you would put into things, and it would play music or comedy or Adam Sandler, whatever. The 12 months of privilege, right? The 12 months of privilege. So my book goes through all 12 months, January to December. So the first chapter is January, the 11th chapter is November. Talk about our history, our holidays. I make fun of people. I dunk on the kooks. But on the inside here, right here, I have a quote from a movie. And for you Gen Zers out there, you should go watch this movie so your head can explode. It's a movie called Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Blazing Saddles. Now, Blazing Saddles was written and directed by Mel Brooks. However, he had a co-writer on the movie. Do you know who his co-writer was for the script? Richard Pryor.
Really?
So Pryor was brought in because they were going to tell all these crazy black and white jokes throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing. And the sheriff's black. And in the opening sequence, which I'm quoting here, Gene Wilder wakes up in the drunk tank and he says, you know, and this is something that, you know, I want to call back to wokeism too. Sheriff Bart says, "Are we awake?" And Gene Wilder says, "We're not sure. Are we black?" He's talking to the black. He's talking to the black sheriff. The black sheriff, Sheriff Bart, says, "Yes, we are." And then Jim, the Waco kid, played by Gene Wilder, says, "Then we're awake, but we're very puzzled. We're awake. We're awake with black sheriffs. We're awake with black, you know, U.S. senators like Tim Scott. We're not woke. We're awake. We're awake, just like Richard Pryor was awake at comedy. Mel Brooks was awake. Nino's awake. A.J. Rice is awake. And the next Trump administration will not be woke. It will be awake."
Love it.
Right? That's where we're going, homie. That is where we're going.
AJ Rice, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. The White Privilege album by AJ Rice. Where's that? Amazon? You'll get it anywhere?
That's right. Anywhere books are sold. I got a blurb on the back of the book. I got blurb from Joseph Stalin. He endorsed it. I got a blurb from Abraham Lincoln. He endorsed it. And I even got a blurb, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I know most of you don't celebrate Kwanzaa, but I got a blurb from Santa Claus. So the holidays are coming up. Santa Claus says, "Jesus and I have been doing holidays a long time." And in his thought-provoking new book, AJ Rice teaches both of us where all the white liberals went. Apparently, they now celebrate something called Kwanzaa. Who knew? Who knew? So I got a blurb from Santa. You can't beat Stalin and Santa. If you could bring Stalin and Santa together, you know you've conquered the universe.
And AJ Rice did it. All right, folks, get out and get a book. AJ, thanks for joining me, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, brother. We love you. Keep fighting, Nino.
You too.